All right, Ryan. What's it like being a guy from the West Coast living in the Midwest?
So I'm actually not from the West Coast. I'm from a suburb of Chicago.
Okay.
And then I did my undergrad in Ohio.
Mm.
And so the first 22 years of my life, I was in the Midwest. And then I went out to LA. I did my graduate studies at the University of Southern California. So I was in LA for like 3.5 years right until COVID hit. And then left when COVID hit and moved back to Chicago before coming to St. Louis. And so I'm a Midwest guy through and through. And then I was out in LA, and that was like a whole new world.
Mm.
Oh my God. And
Yeah.
so, no, so I'm from the Midwest. I enjoy the Midwest, love the pace. And last year, like coming to St. Louis in September 2020, that was then the first time in 4 years that I experienced all 4 seasons in a calendar like succession.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is great. I love it. Fall's my favorite time when it gets colder and the leaves change and, but you can still go out running and stuff. And so LA is just 80 and sunny, and it's fantastic when you get there, but then you get so complacent and used to it that anything that's not like that, you're like, oh, this isn't what I signed up for coming to LA. And so you just get, yeah, you take it for granted. But LA itself is just like a whole new world. Like California is its own world.
Oh, it's different out there.
It is.
The people are different.
People are different, vibes different. Yeah, I'd show up to, my friends are like, oh, let's like meet up at 2 o'clock, and I'd get there at 1:50 because that's like my Midwest personality. That's my musician personality. Like any rehearsal, we have to be there early
Yeah.
and
If you're
stuff.
early,
And
you're on
so,
time.
and then they come in at 2:15. I'm like, you guys are late. They're like, what? No. And I'm like, yeah, you sure?
Yeah.
And so that's just how it is. It was a whole different vibe. It was great going to school there. I loved USC. I loved being in LA and seeing Los Angeles Philharmonic, playing for the guys there and stuff. But I don't think I could live there.
Yeah. It's a cool vibe out there, but the people are definitely it's just a little bit different whenever you grow up in the Midwest.
Mhm.
One of the first time I ever went out to LA, I was visiting a friend, and I realized I was different immediately because I think you shared a meme about this one time. Like in the Midwest, we like to brag about the deals that we get.
Yes, yeah. Posting memes, and it was like, Midwest versus Best is a great account or something
Oh,
like
it's
that.
great. It's great. But I did that. I got out there. I'm like, oh man, I fucking got this sick ass deal on this flight. Like out here, it was so. And they just looked at me like, cool. Like I don't give a shit. I'm like, oh shit, I'm different.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's good, dude.
It's different vibe out there, man. But the mountains are cool.
Mhm.
The beach is cool. It's probably a really sick ass place to go to school.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, everyone thinks that LA is like right on the beach and stuff, but it's like maybe a 20 to 40 minute train ride to the beach. I've
Hmm.
only went to the beach a couple times in my years there.
Oh really?
But yeah,
Oh
but
wow.
I was USC is like right south of the downtown area,
Hmm.
so it's a nice spot, and it was fun. I
You didn't
enjoyed
like
it.
venture off of campus though a whole lot.
Not a ton, man. I was kind of just restricted to there, and then the orchestra, and yeah,
Just because you're so busy with school and orchestra and stuff?
yep,
Oh, okay.
practicing, and yeah,
Dang. That's kind of a bummer, dude.
it is a little bit like
You were out in like a pretty cool, unique like
I
place.
know. I felt like maybe I didn't do it quite enough justice exploring, and even in my time there, like I didn't go out to Vegas or San Francisco,
Yeah.
even though I was like kind of close to those, and so yeah,
You're just a
it's
kid
kind of
though.
weird.
You're those what
I was 24 to
Oh,
26.
so you're older.
Yeah, so I was a little older, yeah. But I didn't have a car, and that's a restriction. That is definitely a restriction in LA. Like, you need a car, and so my sister lives there, and so I would borrow her car when I needed to go uh, play. Like, I would play with the Pacific Symphony sometimes, and they're in Orange County, and I would need to drive there. And so, like,
Okay.
I'd borrow her car just for that. Otherwise, I didn't want to abuse, like, taking
Mhm.
her car and stuff. And so, yeah, so, I mean, short Ubers to downtown and anywhere downtown, but outside of that, I kind of didn't really explore
Yeah.
too
Well,
much.
being from Chicago, you probably didn't really need a car, right?
No, not really.
You
Yeah,
just.
but public transportation in LA sucks, and they're
Mhm.
trying to revamp that for when the Olympics happen. I think they're 2028. LA is having the Summer Olympics or something like
Oh,
that.
really?
Yeah, I saw a bid or something, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna like totally remodel the public transportation so it's accessible for the Olympics in
Oh.
2028 and stuff." And this was, a couple years ago. They said and stuff,
Oh.
and yeah.
I don't know why they would do that. I feel like LA sucks now.
LA sucks in general. Sometimes, man, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, man. Again, I thought it was pretty cool visiting there, but it just with the way the world is today, It just seems like that place. That and like New York.
Dude, I don't want to go to California. It's like I'm going
At all.
into. I have an audition in 2 weeks for the San Francisco Symphony, and I was just like, I want to play as a musician and stuff. You want to play and compete at the highest possible level, and so the San Francisco Symphony is one of the best orchestras in the country, as is the Los Angeles Philharmonic and stuff. And so, I'm gonna go take the audition, but I was like, do I really want to live in California? Like, no, not really.
Yeah.
But I would, if it means that I can play at the highest level that I want to.
Yeah,
And
it's, like,
so
it's worth the trade-off.
Yeah, so that's yeah, and there have been other compromises along the way, like San Francisco, February 1st, they won't let anyone into their hall that's not boosted. So I had to get the booster, and I didn't want to. I mean, I got vaccinated. That was a personal choice, but I was like, I'm not getting the booster. Like, I don't see any point. And then they're like, you can't audition unless you have the booster. And I'm like, that was like that was like the compromise. And so, I was like, okay, like if I want to compete, like I have to do this. So I went and got it the next day and felt like shit the day after, and then, back to normal now. But I just like, I hate that I had to go do that.
Yeah, you kind of wrestle with that.
Especially like living or like dealing with First Form and all their ideas, and then the symphony, which is super liberally dominated.
Probably polar opposites, right?
Oh, yeah.
The groups that are
Yeah.
in each of those organizations.
Yes, the ideology and the thinking is completely different.
Yeah.
And I wear First Form gear like on stage. In rehearsals, like I come in like some First Form gear like this, and they have no clue what First Form is, or like the fitness, like they don't know. And most of them are like 50 with kids. Like I think I'm one of like 5 people under 30 in the orchestra. And so, going to First Form, that's like, the 20-somethings dominate that space. And then here it's like much older, and so they don't know what First Form is. But yeah, it's different ideologies. And so, coming into First Form kept me sane a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, you're kind of like stuck in the middle there.
I am.
You're like living in a weird place.
I am, dude. I am. You have to know how to like almost sit on a fence, or just to not say anything.
Just be quiet, or.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though. So if I were in your situation and I were placed in this group of, because you don't want to offend people and you don't want to piss anybody off, and you don't want to like be a dickhead. But on that same note, as things were like being like coming up and as things were being said, I don't know how I could be quiet about certain things.
I know.
Because the evidence and the science truly does support.
I know.
One side more than the other, right?
Yep.
So it's just like, man.
I know the symphony does like all these different restrictions and everything, and now we're having to be tested twice weekly because I can't play as a clarinetist without a mask on. String players, a violinist, or percussionist, they can play with their masks on, and so they don't need to get tested. So now because I can't play without having a mask on, have to get tested twice a week now.
Really?
And they're upgrading the masks, and it's yeah.
Now, are they just doing the testing here at the St. Louis place because they're not requiring like boosters and vaccines and stuff?
Yeah, so they did require vaccine.
They did require the vaccine.
And they require it for audience members too.
But not the booster.
Not the booster yet.
Yeah.
But
they do require for the audience. I won't go to places that require vaccines. I
know, dude. I know. I went to LA the first week of December. I played for my teacher. It was the first time being back. I wanted to play for my teacher because I just had an audition for the Boston Symphony, and I was staying with my sister, and it was the first time where I needed to show my vaccine in order to go to a restaurant. And I'm like, what? This is a thing? Like, I guess I was just kind of sheltered in the Midwest and,
like
and
you hear about it.
And so that was the first time I ever experienced that, and I was like, man, yeah,
that's got to be interesting.
Yeah, it's I don't know how much I can say on this podcast.
Yeah, I would get
someone
dude, we're just living in strange times though, dude. I mean, this is just the reality of the world. We have places, like on the coast that are taking pretty extreme measures, and here in the Midwest, you hear people talking about it, but we're not really seeing it necessarily or living it. It's almost kind of abstract.
Yep.
But when you go to a place and you're like, holy shit, this is really happening. It is real. You can even go further abroad. You're seeing shit in like Australia, and you're seeing all these protests in like Canada and France and like all these different places.
Yeah. Well, they won't show it to you on certain media that everyone watches, so that's why you don't think it's happening.
Yeah, you don't see it, but if you do see it, it's still almost kind of abstract because we're not really living it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So we're
Yeah.
just living in strange times, dude. I can only imagine what it has to be like.
Yeah, which is fine. Like when the symphony cancels like concerts due to COVID and stuff like that, I'm like, fine, I'm gonna go into first form now.
Yeah,
And
you're
I'm
not
like,
you're not sweating it.
I'm like, no, like we still get paid, and so I'm like getting paid to do nothing, and you just canceled all our concerts, so then I'm gonna go into first form and like work out, see some great people, and talk, chill, like just do some menial labor work, which is a total shift from playing the clarinet all day, and
Yeah,
I enjoy it, and so yeah, it's
that's
fun.
crazy, dude. Your job is music.
Yeah,
You were able to make that happen.
trying, yeah.
Dude, that's fucking awesome, dude. So you're just like a band guy growing up,
Yeah, so
or how
I
how how did your musical journey begin?
yeah, so I my dad played the clarinet,
Okay.
but not professionally, but he had an extra one lying around the house. And so I have an older sister who's 2 years older. And in our public school system, you kind of choose the instrument you wanted to play in fourth grade and start in fifth grade.
Hmm.
So when my sister decided to play the flute, because my parents wanted both of us to play instruments just because it develops discipline and creativity and just, they wanted us to like have that experience. She was playing the flute, so my dad brought his clarinet out to like help her read music, play along with her, that sort of thing. And being young at that age and seeing your older sister do something, you wanted to do it, sort of thing. So then he had an extra clarinet, so I like picked up the clarinet. So then I just kind of kept practicing and stuff. And then in high school, I auditioned and got into the Chicago Youth Symphony.
Oh, cool.
And so every weekend I would take the train into the city and I would have rehearsals downtown.
You do that by yourself?
Yeah. And then then we'd have concerts at Symphony Center where the Chicago Symphony played. Sometimes get coaching from members of the orchestra, and so it was a great thing to do. And then I started going to like summer festivals. I went to this place called Interlochen in northern Michigan, which was like a boarding arts camp for 6 weeks every summer, and so you're just kind of immersed in it. And I was like, okay, I need to give this a shot. So I auditioned for conservatories my senior year of high school, and ended up going to a conservatory. Yeah.
Oh, dope. So when you started going down this path of music, were you kind of like self-propelled down this, or did your parents have to be like, all right, Ryan, let's make sure you're practicing today, or were you just like all in on your own?
No, I was kind of on it on my own. They did stress the importance of discipline, but like my sister and we always were kind of good students, and we had a bunch of other activities, so we learned how to balance things, and
Yeah.
they didn't really need to check up on us to make sure we were doing that. And so it was always, they didn't push me to go into music. And my sister actually also went into the performing arts. She was a ballet dancer.
Mm.
And so that's where she trained for that and went to school for that. And she was in San Diego Ballet and then the Los Angeles American Contemporary Ballet and stuff. And so we both went into the arts as parents that are both in finance. So it makes no sense. And I always kind of say like, all right, you let both of your kids like go into the performing arts. You're either really supportive or like really stupid for letting us do that.
I think they're super cool
And
for doing that.
Yeah.
So you guys leaned into the arts. Did you play sports and shit growing up too?
I did. So I played basketball and soccer, and I was really seriously on a club soccer team in Chicago.
Okay.
A couple of my former
Chicago's
teammates,
a big soccer place.
Yeah. So a couple of my former teammates got drafted in the MLS, but then they didn't. I don't think they ended up playing. They went down to the NCLS, the lower the league
like the feeder
under
league?
under the MLS, but they were still playing and stuff. And then one of the guys I remember, he was just this huge guy, and he was the son of one of the coaches, and he ended up switching from soccer to basketball, and he played at UNC.
Oh,
And so I'd like watch him play
So you grew up
for
with
games
a
and stuff.
lot of really badass athletes, dude.
Yeah, and so the turning point kind of came when I was like a freshman and sophomore in high school, and I was like 5'3" and nothing pounds, and I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going into soccer professionally, and I was like still avidly doing music, and then I auditioned for the youth orchestra, which then became such a huge time commitment and responsibility, and I was like, I can't do both. I enjoy music and think I can have a future in it. I definitely don't think I can physically be
Yeah.
a soccer player. And then, later on, like I was still growing through my undergrad. Like I think I maybe peaked my height at senior year of undergrad. Like I like bloomed late. And so that was a very easy decision to like let go of sports in high school.
So you made
But
that choice going into high school. You stopped playing sports.
sophomore year of high school.
Sophomore year of high
Yeah.
school, you're just like, this just isn't.
Yeah.
Like physically, you're just not.
Yeah, physically I just couldn't keep up
Okay.
the physical pace of it, but skill wise in soccer, because you don't need to be the biggest person to be a great soccer player.
Right.
And
Footwork,
so
speed,
yeah, and
agility.
so it was still okay, but I just I couldn't end up dealing with both at the same time, music and sports, and so I made the choice there and
Yeah.
pivoted.
When's your birthday?
June 5th.
June.
Yeah.
So were you like one of the younger kids in your grade?
Yeah, and so
Oh,
that
okay.
didn't help either. And I don't know if you've read Outliers before by Malcolm Gladwell, but all hockey players are born in January or February.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm glad you said that because
Oh, yeah.
I read that book back in the day, and so my son, his birthday is July 31st, which here in Missouri, that is the last. So he's the absolute youngest kid in
Oh
his
my
grade.
gosh. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So as a result of that, like I wanted him to wait a year
Yeah.
because I'm like, man, at that age.
Yeah, because if he would have been born a day later, he would have waited a year anyways.
Regardless.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I want to give him the best advantage that he can
Yeah.
because
Physically.
a physical year of development
Oh, it means everything when you're younger. And that's when you're developing your passion and the skill set. And I mean, that's.
develops
Yeah.
your traits and all
Yeah.
these different things, all these personality things. So I wanted to give him that opportunity, and I was explaining this to my ex-wife, and I was talking about Outliers, and I was explaining the hockey
Yeah.
example, and it was like, well, you just want him to be better at sports. I'm like, no, it's not just about sports. It's about all of these other areas. Like,
Yeah.
it just puts you in a different area of your life. You'll develop differently.
And just to be clear, I was like not going to go play soccer in college on a scholarship anyways. Like I was not on that path, but it just kind of reaffirms the
Well, as you're
switch
telling it to
music.
me, I
Yeah.
wondered. I'm like, I wonder if Ryan's like one of the younger kids in his grade.
Yep.
Because I was born in December, so like I'm not the oldest, but I was still a little
Your
bit.
middle pack, yeah.
Yeah, kind of like the middle top half there. So it's like physically in sports and stuff, I've always been a little bit bigger than the other kids. I wasn't one of the younger kids, but now actually having a son who is one of the younger kids, it helps me like kind of see the different perspective of it all.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's interesting.
No, I love Malcolm Gladwell and his
Such
books.
one of my favorite
Great.
authors, dude.
Yeah, dude, you can read through it. Like I actually just recently put down a book because it took so much motivation to just sit and read it because it doesn't read well. Malcolm Gladwell, the way he writes, it flows.
Oh my God.
The stuff he says is great. Like I started with Tipping Point, and then I read Outliers, and then Blink.
Blink.
The
Yeah.
end of Blink actually talks about the audition process for the Metropolitan Opera in New York, and
really?
interviewed the former principal horn player, who was one of the first females to win the audition because it was blind. And at that time, sometimes they wouldn't be blind. There was sexism for
remember
women
that.
in orchestras. And I know her. I've met her. I've played for her.
That's so cool.
And so it was great to read that. And then and so I ended up messaging her on Facebook. I'm like, I can't believe it took me so long to read this book, but like here you are at the end. And she's like, yeah, it was fantastic to be interviewed for that. And yeah. And
Dude,
so,
that's awesome. Yeah, he's hands down one of my favorite authors. Have you read? Actually, I didn't read it. I always like to distinguish between whenever I actually read a book and I listen to it on audio.
okay. I've only ever listened to Can't Hurt Me on audio because it had the podcast form and the book thing, and it was so cool. But I read the book. That was actually like the first book I read doing 75 Hard.
Really?
And yeah, David Goggins is the man.
He's the man, yeah.
But that's the only audio book I've ever listened to.
Oh, okay.
I haven't listened to stuff. Yeah.
So I prefer books. So, but I still like audiobooks too. Sometimes I'll listen to an audiobook while I'm reading a book. They don't have to be the same book. Sometimes it'll be the same book. But yeah, Can't Hurt Me, hands down, the best
That
audiobook.
format is great.
That's one of the few books I would always recommend, almost probably over the actual book, just because again there's a whole podcast format with it. But Malcolm Gladwell's Talking to Strangers.
See, I haven't read that one, and then I think he also has one with the word dog in the title.
He does. He has one called was it What the Dog Saw?
Yeah, something like
And
that.
then I think he has one
yeah.
like David and Goliath. I haven't.
Oh, David and Goliath. Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't read I've only read those three that I mentioned of his.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I recently listened to the Talking to Strangers, and it's a great production. It's one of those that it's also worth listening to because you get a lot out of it that's different than the book. But the only other one I probably like we talked about Never Split the Difference. I listened to that probably like 5 times. I'll just have it on, just listening to it in the car.
Yeah.
It's just like that constant, like subliminal learning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I just have it there. I'm not consciously listening to it, but I know I'm picking up things. You can
soak up stuff, yeah.
Right, yeah. I usually only get audiobooks because they'll send me a deal where you get all 12 credits at once, and it'll be, I think they give $50 off or something like that. So it's like $100 or something, and you get all 12 in front. So whenever I'll do that deal, but yeah, I usually prefer books. Books are way better.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I have two audiobooks that I've listened to. So Can't Hurt Me and then Relentless by Tim Grover. But Tim Grover doesn't narrate it himself. He uses a narrator, and a lot of comments I've seen from people is like, oh, it lost something because you want to read it in Tim Grover's voice because you've undoubtedly heard him speak or YouTube clips and everything, and like it would be great if he narrated his own story. But
it's always better.
Yeah, and so but yeah, that's the only other one that I've read. But I love Tim Grover as well. Yeah,
it's the shit.
And that's Tim Grover is how I found First Form, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been from like the Chicago, always loved the Bulls, read some books by Phil Jackson, saw that like, Tim Grover's trainer is coming out with a book about, relentless habits of successful people. I'm like, oh shit, like I need to read that. That's great.
Yeah.
And it became like the Bible. Like I read it in my undergrad, and it was the only book that I had read over and over on multiple hands I could count. And that was the only book that I've ever done it. And I'm like, oh wow. And so then when I started getting into listening to podcasts, I just listened to the podcast interviews of Tim Grover. Okay. And the ones I liked the best were MF CEO Project and Ed Milet.
Yes.
And those are then the only two podcasts I was listening to at the time. And I was like, funny. And so then Andy, mentioned on MFCEO, oh yeah, like I run a supplement company. Like I was like, oh, that's cool. And then, kept going. And I'm like, I should actually check this out. And so then I like started looking up First Form, and it was great. And I was like, oh wow, this is really great. And I had a really serious health issue when I was out in LA. I have Crohn's disease, and I didn't know it. And that's an inflammatory bowel disease. Mm-hmm. And so, now I'm 6 foot, 180. I weighed 135 pounds with shoes and clothes on.
You weren't absorbing any nutrients.
No, not at all. I didn't know what was happening to me. Thought at one point I had appendicitis. It wasn't appendicitis. It was my part of my intestine shrinking down from like a big gulp straw at 7-Eleven slushy to like a coffee straw. So I had to have surgery. They took part of my intestine out, which, I mean, your intestines are like 25 feet long. They took a couple inches out and then just reconnected it. It's not a big deal, but it was like an invasive surgery.
Yeah, it's still surgery.
Yeah, and so then randomly on Facebook, I was so depressed. I was down. I was recovering in my apartment. My mom flew out to take care of me, and I saw an ad for First Form on my Facebook for Optigreens. And I was reading them like, oh, digestive enzymes, probiotic, like nutrient. I'm like, this is exactly what someone with a bowel disease needs. And so I ordered that. Then I ordered Microfactor, and I'd had that for years before moving to Missouri. So I was like really, really then into First Form and consistently taking those products. So then when I signed the contract for the St. Louis Symphony, knew I was moving here, I like contacted them, and I was like, hey, like, I love the podcast, would love to like just see around. Are you guys giving tours? And they said, oh, sorry, we're not giving open tours or anything like that. And at the time I just finished 75 Hard and Phase 1, and my parents were like, oh, like they're based in Missouri. You gotta go see their stuff. And I'm like, oh, I checked, like I can't go. Right. They're not giving public tours. And then I see an ad for working in the warehouse and even part-time. And so I sent in my resume, and I'm like, I'm going to give myself an own tour.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome.
And so that's how I started working at First Form.
Was it the old building or the new one?
The new one.
Okay.
Yeah. September 2020. So they had just moved in, I think in June.
Okay.
And yeah, so I didn't see the old HQ or anything like that, but
so
people would tell me about it.
So you started not too long. I don't even remember whenever I worked there. I don't even remember. It wasn't long, but either way, you weren't there too much longer before me.
No.
I don't think.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Because
maybe like a couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's crazy. What was your diet like whenever you were having all those issues?
Not particularly great. I would eat fast food Mexican a lot, just takeout Mexican. Was right around the campus. I mean, I would make my own stuff. There's Trader Joe's down the street, so you could do enough. But yeah, like you said, like I wasn't absorbing nutrients in my body no matter how much I ate.
Yeah.
And like my teacher, when I would go in for lessons, and he's like, "Are you eating?" I'm like, "Yes." Like, why are you asking me that and stuff? And then I didn't even like realize it. It was so slowly that yeah, it was kind of like a shock that I had lost so much weight, and it wasn't on purpose. And so yeah.
Wow. Dang, dude, you're like skin and bones, huh?
Yeah, and so now like then I built myself up, and now I use first form products, and I go to the gym. Like that's why health is like so important to me now, given that I have a chronic disease, but also just to maintain that discipline and know that like it could maybe flare up at any time, but I don't know it. And so I need to remain healthy and consistent with working out, with putting food in my body now. Like I don't eat many sugars at all. I don't have like huge cheat meal days or anything. Like I just kind of stay consistent, do my own thing, and
yeah, that's probably like the number one thing. I mean, food, absolutely, what we eat is for sure the number one thing that's going to dictate a lot of our health, even outside of movement, right? Because you can't out train a bad diet.
Yeah, I've heard that over and over. Yeah,
you just and the thing is, when you have something like Crohn's disease, there's no room for fluctuation really. There's not like, oh man, I get a day to really be shitty, because if you do that, you're just gonna feel like shit.
Yeah,
it's just a new way of living, right? I think most people look at health and they're like, oh, I have to like go on a diet, or it's this end result, but it's really just a way to really just enhance your life.
Yeah, now it's a lifestyle for me, as opposed to if I was someone that just was trying to lose weight and be healthy. You're like, oh, like I need to do this just to get that end result, and now it's like, no, this is my future, and it's like just an entity. It's part of you.
Yeah, it's just what you do. Like, it's not a goal. Let me get here and then I stop. No, you just keep doing it. You just help this body, this machine that we have. We help it move better while we're here. We're not here forever, but while we are here, I don't want to fucking feel like shit and not be able to do stuff. Yeah, man. So you said low carbs for you. You probably don't do a lot of like refined processed carbohydrates, do you?
Not a ton, no.
Yeah, those probably make you feel like shit, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Sugars, refined carbohydrates.
And I mean,
it makes everybody feel like shit. That's the thing.
Yeah,
refined carbohydrates and sugars.
Whenever I go back to Chicago, I always eat pizza, because that's, I mean,
How could
and
you
so
not?
after every time I do that, I'm like, yeah, this feels like a brick in my stomach, and then I take some Optigreens and I go for a walk. But it's just like, so I mean, I still like indulge, but yeah.
Yeah, just the inflammation. Try to just
exactly. I don't need to add fire because I already have inflammation, so I don't need to add kindling.
Dude, so what do you think about St. Louis pizza then?
I have not had it. I know people that have had emos and they talk about it. There's one like down the street from where I live. I live in Central West End, and I have not had it. I heard some people say they love it and it's the best pizza. I've heard some people say it's trash.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe that's just me being a snob from Chicago. I'm like, oh, like I'll only eat Chicago style pizza. And
really?
I know going back, like it'll be great. And so, I don't seek it out here.
Yeah. I like Emos. I don't even think Emos is the best St. Louis style pizza. No. I personally like Cecil Whitaker's. That's my shit.
Cecil Whitaker's.
Yeah. But either way, I just look at St. Louis style pizza. It's not even limited to just those two. I just look at it as just thin crust pizza. It's just like, do you like thin crust or not?
Yeah. Yeah, well, Chicago's the deep dish, like
deep
lasagna
dish,
style.
Yeah. See, that's the question. Is it really pizza?
That was funny. I brought back a couple slices for Josh Sanderson into first form, like when I was coming back from Chicago, and he was eating it, and Sal like came in. And he was like, oh, what are you eating? And he's like, oh, it's Chicago-style pizza. And he was like, that's not pizza. It looks like lasagna. And Josh is like, you can argue what it is, but you can't argue that it's delicious. And I was like, that's true.
It is good.
And so you can, you can argue if it's pizza or not, but it is delicious.
So which place do you go to?
Giordano's.
Yeah. Not Illuminati's?
Nope. Oh, you lose guy?
Dude, honestly, I like them both.
Yeah.
I really have no skin in the game.
Yeah.
I just like pizza. I really do. I'm honestly, I don't care where it's from. I talk shit. I'm just joking, kid. But Chicago, New York, St. Louis, I don't care where it's coming from. It's fucking good.
Yeah.
Like, it's not all good, but long as it's good.
Have you seen Portnoy's One Bite?
Yes.
On Instagram, he just goes to places and reviews it based on a couple of bites, and it gains so much traction.
He's a funny dude. He just released his own frozen.
Yes, that's right.
Version.
Yeah, I was. It's not around Schnuck, or they don't have it at Schnucks, which is where I like go to get my groceries just down the street from where I live. But it's at Walmart, and so I was like, oh, I'll drive one day to a Walmart and pick one up. And see how it is.
You haven't tried it yet?
Haven't tried it yet.
It's probably just a typical frozen pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah, I saw him review his own pizza. He's like, he's like, oh, I can't just take one bite. He's like, guys, I'm not just saying this. He's like, what's
He's
he give
such
it?
a character.
Does he give it a 5 or 10 point? I can't remember if it's 5 or 10.
Out of 10.
Out of 10. Right? He's like, that's a 10. He's like, takes a bite, drops it. He just does his thing. He's so animated. I just love the way he does it. He's a funny fucking dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Pizza's my shit. I'm not gonna lie. That's my true pleasure food.
All right. Well, you have to give me the go-to place in St. Louis that you think is the best, and then I'll definitely go there.
There's so many good different places, but dude, there's this fucking place. I think it's called Max and Irma's. It's like this old school place in on Olive,
Okay.
and yeah, that's a really good spot. Yeah, but I mean, it's just preference, whatever you like.
Yeah.
Whatever you like. This is actually a really good city for food in general. I know Chicago's actually known for their culinary culinary scene.
Yeah.
But St. Louis has a sick ass culinary scene.
Yeah.
Are you much of a
I have
foodie?
not explored
You're looking at
too
me like,
much.
yeah,
No, dude,
I'm looking at you. You're like, yeah, I bet it is. I don't fucking go do.
But
What do you do, Ryan? What do you do?
I practice the clarinet. I go to rehearsals. I play concerts. I go into first form. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the same stuff.
Interview over. You're right. Dude, you told me, you're like, man, I don't know if I'm going to be interesting. Interview over, Ryan. You're right. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but I think mostly just from my own diet and what I have with Crohn's that I don't venture out too much and eat out all that much. And what I do is kind of like just in the central West End area. And there's some nice spots, but it's not like all over anything. But
no, you got to be careful because you don't want to feel like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't drink? You're a drinker?
I do not drink alcohol, and I stopped because of that.
Good move.
And that's just pure inflammation into the body. And so I gave up alcohol. Still, I smoke, would smoke in LA every once in a while, but like now in Missouri, like I haven't done it too much, but I would still smoke, but no alcohol and like no sugary stuff. Like there's no ice cream or anything like that in my fridge, and definitely no alcohol.
Yeah.
So,
that's simple to do, right?
very simple. Yeah. I don't miss it. I don't need alcohol to have fun. And like when, I was recovering and then recovered from the surgery in LA, I was still in LA for a couple of years, and I would go out to rooftop bars because LA has a great rooftop bar scene. It's like really awesome. I'd just go with friends and they'd get a gin and tonic or club soda and lime, and it would look like a gin and tonic, and it wouldn't cost them anything because the bartenders wouldn't charge them for it because it's not alcohol. And then they just give it to me, and, then we'd just be chilling. And, So I enjoy the scene. I don't enjoy the alcohol.
Yeah.
So,
I've done that a few times too.
Yeah.
Just get, like a club soda. And
Andy talks about it too on 75 Hard. Like he doesn't miss alcohol at all. And so, and that was like the easiest part about 75 Hard was giving up alcohol. It's like I hadn't been drinking alcohol to begin with. So it's like, it's totally fine.
Yeah, dude, same. I stopped drinking. It'll be 2 years in July. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I just, dude, even if I have just a little bit, I always feel like shit the next day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I feel swollen.
No hangover for weed.
Yeah,
but
zero.
And so, but yeah, you can't have a hangover, and that's what I felt like when I got the side effect from the vaccine. Was like it felt like a hangover, and I'm like, I have not experienced this in years, but this is what it feels like.
Really?
It sucks.
Like you just feel depleted.
Yeah, headache. Just feel like very shitty, and so.
Yeah, that was after the booster. Or after which
Booster
shot?
and second.
And the second shot? I hear that's a pretty common story. I hear that kind of anecdotally a lot.
Yep.
People feel pretty bad after the...
Yeah, but it only lasts like a day, and then you're
good.
Then you're good. For me, that's, how it was. But, yeah.
Yeah, to each their own, man, if you want to take it.
Yeah, I mean, and I had COVID pre-vax. Like, I had COVID, and I recovered, and I was fine. I actually found out I had COVID while I was on a run in Forest Park.
Really?
And so I got the test result update because it was just precautionary at that time to get the test from my doctor. And so I wasn't expecting I had it or whatever, and then just got the results after I was done running. I'm like, oh shit, I guess I'll just walk back to my apartment now. And that was it. But I just recover was fine. And so yeah, I mean, it's mostly just what's been required for my industry.
For work.
Yeah.
That's the shame. So many people are being required to do something just to
It is, and I
living.
I don't agree with it, but I can't.
What are you going to do, though?
I know Andy would be pissed at me, but I can't say no to it because this is my whole world. That's what I trained for, and so I can't just walk out and
Well, you could.
Yeah, I could.
You
But
have to get a whole bunch of people to do it though, and and I guess the challenge there is
uh,
that to your what I think you said earlier, pretty much that entire community
mhm.
is of the same mindset.
Yeah,
Like this is a
very
good
much
thing,
so. Very
right?
much so.
So
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
Yep.
You know, come along or get left behind, buddy.
I guess.
Just
Yeah.
is what it is. And now you're thinking about going out to California, huh?
Well, I'm auditioning. That's to win the audition is totally different, but I'm going to audition.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
You're applying for a job out in California.
I guess so. Yeah.
What else is it? I mean, dang, dude, that's going to be interesting living. But it makes sense, right? You want to go and perform with the best and elevate your level, right? I mean, shit, I want to be the best. I want to go where the best are playing. So that makes sense. It just happens to be in a city that's fucking insane.
Yeah,
Dude, the
I've
homeless issue
I've
going on out
only
there?
heard bad things about San Francisco.
Have you ever been?
Never. No.
Never.
And so this will be my first time.
It's
And
I think it's a fun place. We visited a few years ago.
Yeah, you
Pre-COVID.
like it?
I liked it. It here's okay. I got mixed reviews on it. It was cool vibes. But well, when we went, there was a lot of fires. There was a whole bunch of fires going on. I think both in South California and then just north of San Francisco. So it was super smoky. The air quality was shitty while we were there because of all the fires.
Yeah.
So there are constantly fires in California. That's one thing to consider. The next thing is the homeless situation in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Even,
I thought it was bad in LA, and everyone says it's worse in San Francisco.
and from my understanding, it's even gotten worse even since I was there. But dude, whenever I was there, everywhere you fucking go, bro, there's fucking, it smells like piss.
Yep.
There's human shit everywhere. There's just, it's ridiculous. It's insane. Like I could not wrap my mind around how bad that situation was down there.
Yeah.
You know, I've never been to LA downtown and seen Skid Row. From my understanding,
that's bad.
pretty
I've seen
horrendous.
it,
Yeah, it's like the whole situation, and even LA's gotten a whole lot worse, from my understanding, which is why so many people have left.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know what they're gonna do about. But yeah, that aside, it's nice, but it's so crazily priced. You can't really even live in.
I think
you're gonna have
as
to live.
expensive as New York, and
You're gonna have to live pretty far out.
Far out. Yeah. It's
I'm just trying to talk you into living, keep staying here.
Staying in St. Louis.
Honestly, with the last almost 2 years, the way things have gone, I've never appreciated this place more than ever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I was convinced I was going to move to Austin before everybody started moving there. We visited Austin. I fucking fell in love with that place.
Yeah.
And once my kids get older, I was like, all right, once they're older, I'm going to probably dip the fuck out of here, go to Austin, maybe be a snowbird, own a condo there, own something here. But now, as things have got a little weird in the world, I'm like, man, it's really cheap to live here.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone too crazy. I'm like, man, this is not a bad little spot. Right here in the center, the airport's close. If I need to get somewhere, it's not that bad. I really appreciate it a whole lot more now.
Yep. Yeah. I enjoy the Midwest a lot, and so you hear of everyone leaving California for Texas or for Tennessee, Nashville, or Florida, and it's like, if you leave, don't vote what you left, how you left, and so don't then turn that place into where you left from, because then you're gonna do the same thing and leave again, and so
we'll see what they do.
But it's
you're going into an interesting world.
Yep.
At least you're trying.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So how does the symphony work? You say it's a season, right?
Yep.
So you have a scheduled set amount of times that you're playing.
Yep.
Like, is it January through December, or how does it work? What's a season look like?
So we start up in September and we go through the end of June.
Okay.
And we have concerts every week, a new program, typically with a different conductor, different soloist every week. We have about 4 rehearsals a week, and then 2 to 3 concerts. And
every week?
Every
2
week.
to 3 concerts.
Yeah,
okay.
and then we repeat it just with different program and different music and stuff every week. And so, you can come see the symphony every weekend and hear something new. And
Oh, okay. So
but it's not, like some people at first would ask me, oh, like how many hours is that you work? And it's not really based on hours. We have rehearsals, which a typical rehearsal is 2.5 hours. So we have like 4 of those, and then concerts. But like so much of the work we do is on our own, practicing and learning the music on our own before we get on stage to rehearse it. You have to know your part. You have to know everyone else's part before then the conductor conducts and makes his own influence and interpretation. Everything needs to be done when you set foot on stage, and then you perform it at the end of the week to the best of your ability. And so it's not like an hourly thing. So I have trouble answering that when people at first form would ask me how many hours I work at my other job. And so it's different.
Yeah, it'd be more comparable to a salary. It's like, all right, you're getting paid.
I'm on salary.
This is what you get paid to do this thing.
Yeah.
And the time is the time.
Yep.
Like, you're getting paid for the skill and to do the thing.
But yeah, music is definitely. It's so similar to sports, which is why I love reading like sports psychology books and stuff like that, like Tim Grover, and because you take your work home with you. Like, I would be practicing at 9 p.m. and so like athletes take care of their body outside of practice and go through all these lengths to try and be the best at what they do. And so I'm practicing, and I have a day off. Monday is the Universal Orchestra day off because we usually have concerts Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have Monday off, and then start rehearsals again Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, then concerts. And so on Mondays, like that's my time to get ahead. So I'm practicing. I'm probably playing more on Mondays on my day off than I am on the other days that I go in to work to the Powell Hall to play on stage. And so so it's just kind of. It's the way it is. It's a performance profession. Yeah. Just like, training for jiu-jitsu or something else.
It's competitive by nature.
Yep.
And only the best. I mean, the better you are, the better you get paid.
True.
You get to go do more opportunities you get.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's just like a cascading effect.
Yeah.
So why would you not want to put in the extra work?
That's right.
So it's all about that. It's that competitive mentality.
Yeah.
It translates to everything. Dude, have you read that Kobe Bryant book, The Mamba Mentality?
Yes, I have, yeah.
Bro. I love that book because I'm not a huge basketball guy. Like, I played basketball as a kid.
Yeah.
I stopped playing basketball whenever I started wrestling in high school. And I never really understood how in depth the game can be. So in that book, he
dissects everything.
He dissects
finger placement, when the guy's gonna make his other move based on where he's looking, and
stuff, where they're stepping at,
counting
he's grabbing
the number
on
of seconds before they make a move, and then remembering that later on. His mind and dedication, it's unreal. Yeah.
Insane. He read the ref book. He was like, he's like, look,
gotta know the rules and take advantage of that. Yeah.
He's like, look, this player is stepping here or pulling here, or I didn't realize how physical the game of basketball is.
Yeah.
And it just completely opened my mind to that.
My
whole
favorite
sport.
would be when he's like he reading the ref book. He would know where they need to be positioned to make calls, so he can know when they wouldn't have access to what he would be doing, so he can do some stuff. And I'm like, that's being a student of the game, as they say. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
So you can take that same mentality and apply it to what you do.
Yeah, to music and just
And that's why you're such a student of those type of books and those type of things.
Yeah.
You're coming at it from a different angle. You think a lot of people in your profession come at it with that intensity or that angle?
Some, maybe not all, but definitely the ones I try to be like.
Yeah, or maybe a better way to ask that is, how many people have you found in your community that are similar to you?
A lot.
Really?
A lot.
And the way you approach and your intensity?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because to get a job in an orchestra, you have to go through, it's all blind typically. And so it's only about your ability. And so you have multiple rounds, but there's a screen up. They even put a carpet on stage that you walk on, so you can't hear heels if you're a woman versus a man. The committee made up of members of the orchestra and the music director, they don't see your resume. So they don't even know where you went to school or who you studied with or if you're currently playing in an orchestra or anything like that. So it's just about your ability that day. Oh. And so it's very strenuous. And so, anything can happen and anyone can do it. And so it's like very fair. And so, but it's, you have to perform in the moment. And so that's, it's very stressful. And so you have to train up.
So everyone around you is the elite. You guys are the elite players.
Trying
I mean,
to be,
essentially, right? I mean,
St. Louis is a great orchestra. If you haven't seen the symphony, you should.
I mean, to be in an orchestra, I mean, you got to be really fucking good, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's different orchestras are some are better than others.
Yep. Some are
but,
bigger, larger, and yeah. But,
right? Maybe busier.
Yep.
What's the pinnacle of your profession?
In terms of orchestra,
Yes.
so in America, they have what's called the Big Five, which is Chicago, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Boston, New York. And
Really?
then you
Cleveland.
add in Cleveland Orchestra is one of the best in the country. It may not be the best city, but it is one of the best orchestras in the world. Yeah.
Wow.
It is
I would think the
insane.
city
Yeah.
lends to the orchestra.
Sometimes, yeah. But that's that might not be. We're just shitting on Cleveland because I'm from Chicago. That's fine. I can do that. I hated seeing LeBron James knock the Bulls out repeatedly, either when he was in Miami or when he was with Cleveland. So I'm fine shitting on Cleveland. But their orchestra is phenomenal. And then you add in San Francisco and LA out in the West Coast, and those 7 are the most busiest, highest paid, most highest quality, and so
Okay.
So it would be that's what people call destination orchestras, where if you get into that orchestra, you likely stay there, and you don't keep taking auditions for other orchestras, that sort of thing. And so if you do move, it's a lateral move. It's not a upward or downward move. And so St. Louis is a fantastic orchestra, and I love it here and playing, but I'm still actively taking auditions for other
It's like a mid-tier orchestra. Not to talk
very,
shit on it.
Very upper mid-tier, but it's
right.
I wouldn't even say mid, but it's fantastic. But
okay.
But I'm trying to
It's not one of those
go.
7.
Yeah.
Just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my contract, unfortunately, I'm only on a 1-year contract, and so it was renewed from when I got into the orchestra last year because we didn't play all that much because of COVID, and so it was renewed. And the reason I'm on a 1-year and not a 10-year track member of the orchestra was I took the audition for the symphony and got to the end, but they didn't hire anyone. It was called a no hire. And unfortunately, that's common in the music world in auditions where the committee or the music director doesn't feel like anyone best represented what the orchestra was looking for at that time, but they still needed someone to fill the chair, to play that seat in the orchestra. So then they gave me a 1-year contract.
Okay.
So it was not a full-time, full-track contract. So, there's the potential to be renewed at the end of this season or not. There's no guarantee, so that's why I'm taking all these auditions anyways. And so I have to go out and try and win something full time.
Yeah.
And so
you know what the fucked up thing is though? They're probably actually just doing that not for that reason, but just for business reasons.
Oh, they save a lot of money. I'm not on the symphony's health insurance. I
Yeah.
don't get a personal day. I don't get a lot of things that tenure track musicians get.
Yeah,
in
and
the
I bet
orchestra,
attendance
and
is
it's
probably a little bit down with some of the regulations that are in place, or if they don't know if they're gonna be able to sell out shows or even have shows, and it's just to cover their business end, which is really kind of fucked up because the amount of people that are gonna be like, man, I don't fucking I'm not good enough, or like, what does that do to your head a little bit, where they're like, I don't get hired, but I get to play.
It's I don't necessarily feel like a part of the orchestra,
right.
but I'm there playing and doing the job, and so it is a unique situation. But it's something that I was very thankful to even get it, because I signed the contract the week everything was being shut down in March of 2020, and it was kind of out of the blue that I got it from the personnel manager, and my teacher was like, you need to sign this now before stuff starts getting canceled. And so I did, and I didn't even know if they were going to honor the contract and if I was going to move to St. Louis. So all summer they were like, don't move until we tell you, like, you can't come until we tell you. And then they called me in the beginning of September. They're like, okay, like, we're going to have a season. We're going to need you to come play. So move to St. Louis. So then I moved a week later.
Okay.
But it was like very like, just wait and
Man.
see. And so COVID ruined this entire performing arts profession. I mean, it put it at a standstill for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's still that now we have to deal with stuff and getting tested. And then, I thought it was going to be regular. We had been regular from September till now. And then they canceled the last 2-week concerts. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Man, we are living in crazy fucking times, dude.
Yeah. And I mean, I love it and going in, but then, I go into first form and see people and act normal, like nothing's wrong with the world, and it's great.
Man,
and it keeps me a little sane.
Yeah, I don't know what man, I never really have changed too much of what I've been doing. I still roll jiu-jitsu. I roll jiu-jitsu. I haven't stopped, actually, the entire time.
That's great.
So between all of that, and then I've actually never tested positive for COVID. I got super sick in December, like pretty much everybody did.
Yeah.
And I've gotten a few tests, and never tested positive
Wow.
once. I know my son has gotten COVID. He's tested positive, but I've never gotten sick, man. I mean, I know people do get sick.
Yeah.
And I know it's for some people it's like a real serious issue. And I know for other people it's not. So it just seems such an individual thing to have such just blanket precautions put into place.
Yep.
It just doesn't. It baffles me.
Yeah, dude. There's, I don't want to I don't know how much I can say, but like at the beginning of my time with the orchestra, they put plexiglass in front of us because that was somehow going to prevent the air particles from blowing into our instruments from spreading. And I just roll my eyes so hard. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't.
Did that affect the sound?
Yeah. I was playing right into a glass shield.
Yeah, the acoustics, because now sound is going into this and then bouncing back this way.
Didn't make any sense. Yeah. And so,
that probably ruined the whole show.
It was all right. But yeah, I mean, they had lots of restrictions last year's season with even spacing on stage and being so far apart from each other. And then now we can fit, 80 people on stage, no problem. But before it was like only 40 and we would, have distance between and everything. Yeah. And makes it hard to communicate and play with each other and in time and stuff. And so, yeah, there are different challenges with that.
Are there any avenues to just like independently do things outside of a symphony?
Yeah. So that's commonly playing in an orchestra is commonly what wind players do. Wind being clarinetist or anything that you would have to blow to play, trumpet, that sort of thing. But string players love chamber music, and some of the best music ever written and composed was for chamber players. So like a string quartet is like four instruments. So 2 violins, a viola, and cello is a string quartet. And so chamber music is just, maybe less than 10 people playing something together. No conductor, you're just playing with each other and communicating with each other. And so there are professional groups that are their own chamber music ensemble that play and record and do concerts and stuff like that. And so that's an avenue a lot of people go in to teach. They teach at universities or conservatories. The goal for me would be to be in a symphony full time and then teach at the local school or conservatory there. And so that would be great.
Okay, so that's the goal.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Dude, you need to get in like a bluegrass band or something, like a folk band.
No.
Be tearing it up in the background on the clarinet, bro.
No.
You can do it, Ryan. I have faith in you. That'd be sick. Those bands have a lot of instruments often. You can do it. Are there traveling symphonies that just travel around the world?
Orchestras.
Is it orchestra or symphony? What's the difference?
You can call them whatever. Sometimes.
Is it interchangeable?
So yeah, it's interchangeable. It's just the title. So like you have the Los Angeles Philharmonic. It's not the Los Angeles Symphony. You have the Cleveland Orchestra. It's not the Cleveland Symphony. You have the St. Louis Symphony. And so it's just the name that's associated with it. But it's all just an orchestra. An orchestra or a symphony. Orchestra plays the symphony. And so they're pretty interchangeable and stuff. And so, yeah. But most orchestras, I mean, they have their own hall that they play in and have their season. And people come and play like in the city. And then larger orchestras tour. And so they would go to Asia or do a European tour and play in all the concert halls there and then come back. And so, so those are for larger orchestras.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Shit, dude. What's that one? The Transcontinental Symphony? Is it Symphony Orchestra? That one that travels around during the Christmas season?
Oh, shoot. I don't even know.
Oh, come on, bro. Yes, you do.
Transcontinental Symphony, and they travel and play just in the wintertime?
I might be fucking that up. Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh, okay.
I was Samsonite.
I've heard of them. Yes.
Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Have you heard of them?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm pretty sure I think they own. Do they only do Christmas shit? Have you ever been and seen them? Have you ever seen them?
No,
they come to St.
not.
Louis. They always do winter tours, Christmas Eve and other shit.
Have you been to Powell Hall before?
Mm-mm.
No.
No. Where's it at?
It's gorgeous. It's right by SLU.
Okay.
In the Grand area, close to downtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far is it from Fox?
Right across the street.
Okay.
Right across the street.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Down the street. Yeah.
Really? All right. Yeah, I've been to the Fox. I've never been there.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. See, let me see what their tour dates are. Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They're like this rock and roll. Like they got fucking electric guitars. You've never
Oh my
seen these people
gosh.
for real?
No.
Are you serious?
No.
The Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Oh my god, dude. Hold on, I'm gonna look. So they're. I think they only come around during the winter.
Wow. Yeah. You see November. And,
it says November through. Let's see when this shit ends. It's a lot of fucking dates, dude. These dudes go hard. Dude, December 30th. It
was in St. Louis at Enterprise Center.
Yeah. See, there we go. What are the odds?
I got to play at Enterprise Center earlier in the year.
Cleveland, fucking Cleveland.
Oh, there it is.
So they must have a lot of, because how are you going to be in Cleveland and fucking St. Louis on the same day? How does that work?
I have no
Does
clue.
that mean they have two fucking groups and they just...
Perhaps, yeah.
So how do you know if you're getting the good one?
I have no idea.
Then they're in Kansas City and they're in Pittsburgh on the same day. Wait a second. How can you be in two places on the same day?
That's difficult.
That means you have two orchestras.
Perhaps, yeah.
And everybody's going under the same name. That seems a little sketch, right? Are you
I
getting
don't
the
know.
A team
Yeah.
or the B team? Are they both? They can't both be A team members, can they?
I don't know. That's normally when an orchestra tours, it's just the orchestra, and that's everything. And so, yeah.
Dude, it says when Paul O'Neill first conceived Trans-Siberian Orchestra, his goal was straightforward as it was incredibly ambitious. The whole idea, he explains, was to create a progressive rock band that would push the boundaries further than any group before, of the genre anyway. Okay, all right, whatever. Founded in 96 by Paul O'Neill. Do you know who that is? Does that make no name? Okay. Who immediately approached longtime friends and collaborators Robert Kinkel, John Olivia, and Al Petrelli to form a core writing team. Yeah, bro. Rock and Roll Orchestra.
All right.
I can't believe you've never heard of them. I've always wanted to go see them. I figured it'd be fun. I'm always looking for fun things to do to take my kids and go, like, expand their horizons. Yeah. Like, when we went to the Fox, I took them to go see, I think we saw the Nutcracker.
Okay.
It was either the Nutcracker or Christmas Carol.
All right.
One of the two.
Nice.
I think it was a Christmas Carol, actually.
Yeah, the Nutcracker's a ballet, so that, yeah.
Don't they have that at the Fox?
Maybe. I'm
pretty
not
sure
sure. But a Christmas Carol, that seems like the musical sort of aspect.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we went and saw a Christmas Carol.
Nice.
Now I think about it. Yeah, it was good, though. It was really cool. Just, experiences. Expand the horizons.
I know, yeah.
You did that kind of shit growing up?
Yeah.
Chicago's a good city for it.
They have a ton of stuff, yeah.
Dude, museums really and all that stuff.
Yep.
So Chicago's probably my favorite city in the summer, to be honest with you.
I love the Shedd Aquarium. Went to the aquarium here in St. Louis. Doesn't quite compare. The Chicago's Shedd Aquarium is just massive.
I've never been. I've never been to either one, actually.
Oh, really? You haven't even been here? Oh, okay.
No. Is it good?
It was okay.
It was okay.
I
saw some pictures. My kids have gone. It looked like a whatever.
Mm-hmm.
A whole bunch of fish tanks.
Yeah. I like the zoo. I've been to the zoo more than once here.
We got a good zoo here.
Zoo. Yeah, for being free. I mean, it's fantastic.
I'm so conflicted on zoos.
Like morally,
I am
just
morally
keeping them in the habitat for the viewing pleasure of public people instead of nurturing them in the wild. Yeah,
like a part of me is on the side of, man, it's not very natural for these animals to be there, and they would probably be better off in the wild. Why do we really need to keep them?
Yeah.
It is cool, though, to be able to see those things and kind of expand like your horizons by seeing them.
And for animals that are endangered, it's like they're doing a good service for protecting them and giving them a good home and stuff like that.
Yeah, but why are they endangered? That's the question. Is it
people hunting them? People natural selection in the wild?
If it's natural selection, why do we need to help them?
That's.
But
true,
if it's us fucking them up, we probably should just do better.
There's plenty of that issue.
But what was I going with that? I don't know where I was going with that. I don't know. I'm just sometimes conflicted. I think it's cool to be able to go see them, but on the same note, I'm like, man, I just feel bad sometimes.
Yeah,
but we got a nice zoo here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I definitely feel that way about the reptile house, like all the snakes just being in a glass box the entire time.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oof.
Yeah. But the other question is, would they be better in the wild? I mean, what if we breeded them just to have them in captivity? I mean, I guess I don't know, man. What is it, good or bad? Is like you're kind of growing up in jail, living in jail your whole life.
Yeah.
But is it jail for them? Probably, right?
I don't know.
That's why those.
Gosh, now you're making me think of all this Tiger King stuff.
That's why some of those. That's why some of those animals go fucking crazy, right?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Wow.
Just their animal instinct kicks in, and they're like, I gotta maul something.
Yeah.
And then it just happens to be their caretaker.
Oof. Not good. Yeah. Oh, Tiger King.
Tiger King. Were you told?
That was
you
the
were
early part of the pandemic with the stimulus check and Tiger King and stuff. That was like April 2020. Everyone was like, oh, this is what was it? April distance brings May existence was a sign I saw in my neighborhood. And I'm like, yeah, we're going to come up on the 2-year anniversary of this shit real fast. And
it feels much longer.
Yeah.
Than that.
Yeah.
Wow. I remember, totally being locked up and watching Tiger King.
Yep. Yeah.
Fuck. Did you see that little, whatever they did? They did another season of Tiger King.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. No.
Yeah.
No, I get my... The reason I ended up giving in and watching Tiger King was I saw all the memes, and I'm like, okay, I need to understand the memes and stuff, and your meme page is fire, dude. That's awesome. Like, I can't repost some of them just because I follow some people in the orchestra and other orchestras, and they follow me, and it's like I can't post raunchy stuff, that you know, but there's a limit,
everything.
but and it's fantastic. I definitely send it to people, that's for sure.
That's so fun. Yeah, I don't even think I realize sometimes. I don't even think about how bad some of the things are that I post. Like, it doesn't even register.
You're just authentic. That's just what it is. And,
I'll look at it. I'm like, man, that's probably bad, but who gives a shit? Who's going to do anything to me? I'm not worried about losing a job. I'm not really worried about offending anybody, because if you're offended by it, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Some of the things I post, I don't even know if it's funny or not. I just think somebody else might think it's funny. I don't know if I think it's funny necessarily, but
I think all of yours are winners, man.
Oh man, I steal from like 3 or 4 people. I really just need to add them.
Oh yeah, I've never made my own. I steal too. But I've heard.
I'm not making shit. I'm just stealing it. It's not even original. I'm almost tired of I created the page. I'm almost actually tired. It takes longer to post to the page. I've had people tell me, man, you should just create a page. You should just create a page. So I'm like, all right, I kind of caved in and did it. But it's way less time consuming just to throw it on my story.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with it. But I just need to hit those same few people up and be like, hey, can I just add you to this? And instead of you doing what you're doing, just post here, please.
Yeah.
So I don't have to steal your shit and put it on there.
One of the accounts
I steal
that
shit from
really
you too,
love.
though.
Are you serious?
Sometimes.
Oh, nice, cool. Because I definitely that's not original content by me. I stole it too, so I don't know where I saw it, but
that's what the meme game is.
Yeah, Rugged was going and had awesome memes, but I haven't seen him on social media for like a long time. Rugged, the ammunition guy around Vegas and stuff, and so
I got shut down.
His meme page? Oh, shit. Maybe. I don't know.
Sometimes they just quit showing your shit.
Yeah, well, Shadow Man and everything,
Yeah,
so,
that's real.
Yeah.
That shit is real. But, some people make the memes. I bless their heart.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy.
I cannot do it, no.
It's just meant to be stolen, in my opinion. Just steal it.
Yeah,
just post
put it on the internet. It's fair game. Yeah.
Who gives a shit? You like to share that page about the Midwest stuff.
Yeah, Midwest versus everyone.
And that always kills me every time. That's why I thought maybe you were from the West Coast and you just realized all of these things, like now living.
Yeah.
in the
I've been experiencing them and growing up. Yeah.
But you already
and just
know.
Driving.
You live this life.
Dude, driving over here, I was reminded about all the potholes that are in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Terrible.
It can be pretty bad.
Yeah. But
I didn't realize how much I do say "ope." I'm like, "Oh."
I say, "Yep." No, I say it all the time. Midwest lingo. Yeah, and it's just subconscious now, and it's
I say "yeah," "no," and "no," "yeah."
Absolutely, I do that too. Absolutely.
I try not to apologize. I realize I apologize probably more than Canadians.
Yeah.
It's between the Midwesterners and the Canadians who apologize the most. I try not to apologize as much.
Yeah, East Coast people are too busy, they won't, and then LA people are or California people, West Coast are like maybe too rude, they won't. Super generalizing. I don't know how many people I'm going to piss off saying this stuff. I hope not a lot.
Who cares? Who cares? Listen, don't take me serious because I'm just talking shit always. I'm not a comedian, but don't listen. I might as well be when I'm on here because I'm just talking shit. But that's one of my least favorite things about Florida is the East Coast people.
They come down.
All the Northeast people just migrate down
Yep.
south, and there's no difference. People who are from Florida, they're just East Coast people too. They have no fucking patience.
Yep.
No patience, bro.
Yep.
And they're a little bit rude and aggressive.
Yeah.
And it's one of the many reasons why I hate Florida. It's not, I don't hate the people. You're not my favorite people.
Yeah.
I'm probably pissing some people off right now. But dude, the beaches are nice.
Yeah, I've only ever been to Miami.
Okay,
Florida,
and that's different than a lot of the rest of Florida. But
from what I've heard.
But when you go there, man, the moment a light turns green, they honk at you.
I've heard that.
That's the first thing I noticed there is the liberal use of honking.
Yep.
They use the horn like crazy, so that drives me crazy.
See, in LA, they would honk, but they would honk to let you know that they were running the red. So I'm like, oh, that's a little courteous because they were
courteous.
They were honking so that you wouldn't go in the other intersection, so no one gets fucked up. But they were definitely like breaking the law, running the red. And then here in St. Louis, it's just a free for all. I mean, some people just like straight up just run reds, and I'm like, oh, that was odd. And
you don't know who has and doesn't have insurance. I'm like, please don't fucking hit me.
I thankfully have not had an experience of that, but I did hit a pothole once on the way into First Form, and I had to change it and go get a tire shop, and the tire shop was down the street from me, and I'm just like, I bet you guys make a ton of business.
I bet. Yeah, I fortunately haven't had a ton of issues with the potholes here, but yeah, some of the roads can be pretty bad. Knock on wood, man. No real issues with drivers. But yeah, that was the first thing that stuck out to me in Florida was
the honking.
The moment the light turns green, they fucking honk at you, dude. Last time we went just for a random trip, and I don't know why we went because again, it's never my favorite place to go.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting at a red light. It just turned green, and I'm waiting for a fucking car that's turning left to get out of the
finish.
to finish.
Yeah.
And as soon as they finished, the motherfucker behind me honked. Give me half a second so I can go. But yeah, that's just one of the things that I don't like. Also, the giant bugs, the reptiles everywhere. Who wants to live in a swamp, bro, where they have boa constrictors and alligators? Who wants that?
Just randomly crossing the golf course, a fat-ass alligator, like, oh, yeah, it's just Florida. I'm like, oh, it's just not somewhere I want to be.
No, not somewhere I want to be at all.
Yeah.
Not to mention, it's not if, it's when. You are going to get hit by a hurricane.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Listen, people.
Yeah.
Your houses aren't meant to stand whenever you get hit by a massive fucking force of
Houston.
the world.
Yeah, Houston's had to deal with a couple different natural disasters.
It's terrible. It's terrible every time it happens, but the hubris of humans to say, all right, I like this place. I'm going to live here. I'm going to build here. That's cool. We can do that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that the world isn't going to fuck it up. You know what I mean? It's just the way it works. The geography of the earth is always changing. It's never the same. You know what I mean? So we know that tectonic plates shift. There's volcanoes and earthquakes and all of these different things.
There were a couple earthquakes when I was in LA, but I slept through them all. They didn't even shake me awake. And then like later in the morning, some people were like, "Oh, did you feel that?" And I'm like, No. I was asleep.
Dude.
But, it happens in L.A., earthquakes out in California.
Sinkholes.
Yeah.
All of these things. So the landscape is always changing. And just because we decided to live somewhere doesn't mean it's meant to be there forever. I think about that.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, we only deal with kind of tornadoes here in the Midwest.
It's not that bad either.
No.
The tornadoes. Sometimes they are. Yeah. But there's other parts of the Midwest that get hit way worse. Like Kansas has really bad tornadoes.
Yep.
Nebraska has really bad tornadoes. I don't think we have them as bad here in Missouri, but we've gotten hit for sure. Yeah, bro.
Haven't experienced anything in Chicago like that either, so yeah, that's good.
Yeah. You guys just get freezing cold temperatures.
Yeah, so that's why I enjoy being in St. Louis because it's always 10 to 15 degrees warmer than in Chicago. So even if it's cold here, I know my parents are suffering more. and so, it's, because it's off the river, Mississippi River, instead of off of Lake Michigan. And so, but Chicago can be so cold. And then in the summer, I had never experienced St. Louis in the summer before.
It's humid here.
That was very hot and very humid. And I thought I'd know that from Chicago, but it was just worse and magnified here. And, but yeah.
I find most people are surprised by that.
Super cold, though. I would exchange that. I'm fine with that being the summer being too hot as opposed to frigid winters.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to do cold exposure things because I like the benefits of them.
Yeah.
With that said, I despise the cold with every fiber of my being. I hate the cold. It just, even, I'm just for no reason, I'll just be cold. I'll just start just shaking. I'm just colder. I get cold easily. But the heat, I love it. I can't get enough of the heat.
Yeah.
I find that it takes more heat to get me uncomfortable than the average person.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I love the heat. I'll lean into that shit all day.
Yeah. But do you ever do like outdoor workouts in the cold or when it's raining or like elements like that? Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You get benefits from doing those things.
Yeah. I saw you have Ed Milet's book there. And
book.
cold shower. And that was part of phase 1 for Andy's Live Hard. But I end every shower I take now with just turning it on cold for like 10-15 seconds.
You also get this huge jump in dopamine.
Yeah.
So it makes you feel good. Every time I get out, I just want to be like, woo, like Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Just fucking
but then
yell.
and Tony Robbins had his own, like, he has a chamber that he can jump into.
Yeah, he has a cold
that's
plunge.
Like, yeah,
man. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'll do those kind of things because they feel good and you get a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
I have intense resistance to doing them, nor I don't want to give anybody the impression that it's a regular practice of mine, like I'm doing it every day, because I'm not. Something like the sauna, I can do the sauna every day.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. I do the cold stuff just because I like to do things that are uncomfortable, and I'll do things I don't like because I know what the benefit is.
Yeah.
And the cold is one of those things.
Yep. Yeah.
But I hate it. I have more resistance to that than anything. Have you read Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art?
No.
I wish I had it here with me. I could show it to you. I'll let somebody borrow it. Side note, I'm learning that when you let somebody borrow a book, you essentially just gave it to them.
Yes, that's common. Dude, that's very common.
That's what I'm learning. I'm like, fuck,
I've
dude.
actually done that before, and then immediately when I've done it, I've just ordered it for myself.
Yeah,
again,
I'm really
because I knew that I was like, all right, that copy's gone.
Yeah.
And so,
That's
but,
what, yeah. I've reordered a couple books. I'm like, fuck, I'm not getting that book back. And one of them I had maybe this is just like the hoarder in me. I let somebody borrow a book, and the book I ordered had a different cover than the one I lent out. I'm like, fuck, man, I want the old cover. I'm like, because now I can't get that cover. I was like, that's the one I fucking want. I'm like, fuck, but I'm just gonna eat it. I'm gonna eat it. Yeah. It's just like the hoarder in me. I don't know, but it just is what it is.
Yeah, and I love. I mean, all of your books. I mean, they're fantastic.
That's not even on my books,
them,
but yeah.
But yeah, I also like.
I love books.
I mark and write notes and everything and stuff.
Yes.
And so I. That's
often why I also like to keep my book original, like the original book I had. For that reason as well. Like I'll underline shit and different things. But yeah, there's a couple books I have lent out. I just created a list of who has my book now because
I have a list on my phone of like all of the books in my library because a lot of them are still in Chicago, and so I only have certain ones with me in St. Louis. But the reading process and everything, and I love the nonfiction self-development books. They're great.
Yeah, dude. Most of the books I read I got from the library.
Yeah.
Like I was so this is back like in 2011. So when I was married at the time, we were living in San Antonio, Texas, because that's where her parents were. And we moved down there to like live with them and save up for a house and all this shit. We ended up coming back here so that I could kind of get back to my gym and pursue fighting and do some shit. So when we got back here, I just got a job as fast as I could, so I was a security guard, and I worked third shift. And the place that I worked at, so I think I worked from like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. I think was my shift. Gosh. It sucked. It was one of the worst jobs I've ever had. But on the same note, it was actually one of the best jobs I ever had because I was able to read like crazy. I've never read more.
And that wouldn't put you to sleep during those hours? I
feel
like I would go to sleep if I just kind of read a book and not off.
Man, well, the thing is I drink so much I couldn't really. One, you get used to it.
Yeah.
And then I'm drinking a lot of coffee. I'm taking like 5-hour energy drinks. Okay. Anything to keep me awake.
Yeah.
Every so often you have to get up and walk around.
Yeah.
There was 2 buildings. One building you're in there with another person, so that actually helped. and you actually had a camera on you, so you couldn't just sleep.
Yeah.
So whenever I was in that building, I would read. In the other building, you were the room that you were in. You were actually by yourself. In the room that you were in, I would actually watch a lot of movies because there wasn't like a camera on me. So I'd bring my computer and I watch a shit ton of movies. Sometimes I read in there. Either way, that job ended up being a super beneficial and probably a blessing in disguise type of deal. It was actually the time in my life where I learned the most because I didn't have anything to do. The rest of the world is sleeping while you're awake. And you're at this boring ass job. So I would read a book every 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That's
I was
awesome.
just blowing through books. So I was always going to the library, get new books. So most of the books I read, like I don't have. I kind of want to buy them. I kept a list of all the books I read.
Yeah, but
I kind of want
your
to buy
library,
them.
your own personal library, yeah.
Yeah, it's just that collector in me. Like I want to like own the book. Oftentimes when we're talking about audiobooks, I'll read an audio or I'll listen to an audiobook and then I'll buy the book because I want the book. Yeah, I'll read it I just want to have it. But I was reading so many books. Like I learned how to read. Like I learned how to learn. I read so many business books. It was just a very pivotal time.
Yeah.
Just that having that unfiltered. It was like 9 months of just learning constantly.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I just learned so much just by reading.
Yep. Yeah. I got into the habit of reading. When COVID hit, I like to say the two habits I developed were running and reading. And so when no one knew what was going on, I would be able to go run in my neighborhood without interacting with anyone. So, I would kind of do that, and that helped mental health, just getting out, fresh air, and then also like not being in the home secluded all the time and stuff and watching the news, and then reading, like being able to control what you put into your head as opposed to like watching the news and stuff. And so running and reading is two things that I've definitely kept up. And
The news is toxic.
It sucks. There's no unbiased news. And now people trust their information more from podcasting platforms than mainstream
Specifically
media.
Rogan.
Yeah.
Which is, we're in a weird state now because...
And now people are trying to cancel him, but you can't cancel him. He's so big and
No.
Yeah.
People try to make you feel bad. It's almost weird to say you listen to Rogan. He's so big. More people listen to him than not.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
At this point in the game. I mean, not in the grand scheme because there's a lot of fucking people. But when you're looking at all these major news outlets, more people, he has a larger audience in all these major news outlets.
Yeah, I don't sit down and watch the news. And they say that, viewership for CNN is like so low, and I think Fox has the most viewership, but it's like, okay, but that's older people that would sit down and watch the news. None of the younger people are doing that.
Yeah.
And we get our news through social media mostly.
Yeah, a lot of people do. And here's the thing. It's not like everybody that listens to Joe Rogan does it because they agree with him.
No, yeah.
He's having long-form conversations.
Yeah.
And there's probably just as many people who listen these days who don't agree with him.
Yep.
But sometimes I feel weird whenever I'll reference something or it's, I was listening to Rogan, I heard this. And sometimes you can just see people like, you're listening to Rogan.
No.
It's like, you're always talking about Rogan.
Dude,
you get all your information from Rogan?
Well, actually, this is...
It's like, no, I'm not just... What the fuck?
No, diversity of thought, I think, is so important. And this is something
that's one of the best sources.
Yeah, this is something that happened when I was in L.A. Most of the music community is very liberal, and I have some liberal views. I have some conservative views, mostly socially liberal, and but I tend to vote more on the right. Most people in my profession vote left always, and so a couple of my best friends in LA that were in the studio with me at USC that also play clarinet, have very different political views than I do and how we see things. And so we would get together once or twice a month and cook at one of our places, and then we would talk about controversial or different topics that would have different viewpoints from the left and from the right, and why it was good or why it wasn't good and that sort of thing. And we're still great friends. And it's and then we have a text group, and we call it dinner discussions. And it's like, whenever we see something conflicting or what we posted, and they're like, what are your thoughts on this and stuff? And we're still able to be great friends with thinking differently. And I think, the push for more diversity in certain workplaces and stuff, but you need diversity of thought too. And so if you're in a room and you all think the same, that's not good.
Right.
Yeah.
That matters. It really does.
Yeah.
A lot of what we're seeing online is trying to divide, right? It's trying to polarize.
Oh, yeah.
It's saying that
make people that think different of you an enemy.
Right.
But
separate everybody.
Yeah. If you can understand where they're coming from and at least be able to understand why they think that way, that's a great step.
Right. You don't have to necessarily
agree, but you can understand or see why they think that way.
Right.
But no, I mean, I think in politics, like, you should have, and when America was first founded, the vice president would be the person that got the second number of votes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So George Washington, John Adams was his VP, but they were of different views and different conflicting stuff. And so John Adams, then Thomas Jefferson was the VP to him, but they were running against each other during the thing. So can you imagine if, Trump was president and then Clinton was the VP? That's how it was when America was first founded.
Really?
And so that's that. Yeah, that's...
I did not know that.
No, but I think that in politics, if you had someone on the other side with you in the rooms making certain decisions to just voice that opinion and see, okay, here's how it is from the other side, it would be much better. But politics is so polarizing. I try not to consume it, but also you can't neglect it in this time. And especially with social media, like, you can't escape it. And so you just need to monitor for your mental health. Like, I think I sent something to my sister and she was just like, I'm on a news purge. Like, I'm not even going to watch this. And I'm like, I respect that,
Yeah, I try not to get too wrapped up in it.
Yeah.
But we're in such a time that it seems that if you can't ignore it, in the past, it was always kind of more of the same. It didn't matter which party got in. You kind of knew what to expect.
Yeah.
And for me, I was always focused. I'll keep my head down. I'll just keep trying to work towards what my view of success is, and everything. It will just be fine.
Yeah.
But now it seems that you can't do that, because if you do, you'll fucking turn around and you have no freedom, or things are gonna change so much, and you'll be so lost.
Yeah.
You don't even know how to operate with what's going on in the world, because you'll just be left behind.
Yeah.
Like, things are moving that rapidly.
Yep.
And that drastically.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. But I try not to get too held down by the negativity of it all. Can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
How the fuck did we get down this path again? What was I saying? I was saying something, and then...
of like the world to hear, or with us talking? I forget.
I don't know. I was trying to think what my last statement was, because we came back to the news and it being polarizing, and I think I just had another point I wanted to make, or take us down another path. I don't remember what it was, though, Ryan. Shit. Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, I can't think of it either. But,
shit, dude. I don't know. Oh, I know. We were talking about diversity of thought and how it's important to like have those conversations. Oh, I know what I was thinking. That's one of the things I like. So my fiance and I, we actually tend to think differently. So we'll talk about a lot of different things, and we'll view things on the opposite end of things. So I really like to have those conversations, because one, they're challenging, and it can make you see their point and you can see their point, and it's like, all right, well, you have to be able to explain explain why you think the way you think, which is so hard for so many people to do. It's so, like, the thoughts are so clear up here, but whenever I have to make noise with my mouth and help you understand what is going on up here, I can sound super dumb, or it can be very clunky.
And then it'll reaffirm your belief as to why you think that, if you can organize your thoughts and explain it to someone else.
Yeah.
And will help you with that. But it's like in math class, teaching someone else. If you understand something and can do it, but then you need to teach it to someone else, that's an extra layer. And so that's what you just said, is like, you have your ideas, but to explain it and back it up as to why you believe them, that's the other layer.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's good that you and your fiance like have different views and then talk about them. And
like, we agree on a lot of things, but we definitely I definitely lean more right. She leans more left. We're definitely opposite in a lot of different. She has just more empathy than I do. I'm just a little bit less empathetic, which is one of the
same way.
Which is one of the reasons why I have this podcast, because I'm not naturally an empathetic person. So I wanted to be able to, like, connect with people and have these conversations, and it kind of it's helping. But I just think it's important to have those views. And I did not know that if whoever got the second amount of votes, that's going to be the vice president. Like, that makes so much sense. Did you hear about? Are you familiar with Brett Weinstein?
No.
He is. He's been on Rogan quite a bit. Him and his wife, they have a podcast called the Dark Horse Podcast. He was a professor at I want to say like Greenville University or some shit. He's kind of like along the lines of. Actually, I don't want to say if he is or not, but either way, he got kicked off of Twitter because, or at least this counted. He was proposing this thing called Unity 2020. So where it was, you would take a center left person and a center right person, and they would run together. So that way you get both sides. You get reasonable people on both sides kind of running together. And one year it would be whoever, it didn't matter which one. One was going to be the president, one was going to be the vice president, and then they would switch the next term. And then they would do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that way you kind of get this balanced perspective. And he was just...
And he got blocked for voicing that idea.
For creating an account and trying to get that movement going.
Politics is so polarizing. And you never vote for someone. You're voting against the other person. Like, it's,
Yeah, and it's so crazy how people vote for party lines. And
no, I know people that will always vote left no matter what. I know people that will always vote right no matter what. And I don't think that's right either. You have to, I don't know.
Because the sides change. Here's the thing. This is what confuses me the most. So let's just say if we were in today's climate, you often hear about the left a whole lot more right now. And, I mean, that side at least seems to be the fucking loudest and has a lot of influence in the world at the moment. But we seem to be catering to, one, the minority. And then, two, I think the idea, and this is one of the things I talk about with my fiance, like the idea of what it means to be liberal has changed. So that word means something different than what it used to mean. And I think sometimes people hold on to the old definition of something, not realizing that
it's shifted.
What your idea of it was isn't the same as what it is now. And I think that's what a lot of people are operating under. You know what I mean? Which it creates a lot of confusion. And it also is probably one of the biggest drivers of what separates people, because we're all using the same terms but with different meanings, and it just creates it doesn't allow anybody to get on the same page. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I think that's where I was going with that. That's
an interesting concept where you have people running together, but they're still center, but they're of different leanings. And that's pretty interesting.
It makes sense.
Because it's too much polarizing now, and especially the way the media has pushed everything, then I think the person that is most polarized will have the best chance of winning almost. Like, it's just appealing to that side of voters, and so that's where they'll navigate to. But I don't know what's going to happen coming up.
No, nobody does, dude. I've talked to some people, and they're convinced that Trump is going to win the next election.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who
knows? It just doesn't make sense to me why there can't be a different way. We only have the two-party system. We only can choose from these other these two options that you're giving us. It's like they're playing. We're watching WWE up there. It's the Royal Rumble. It's a fucking play. They're all going to fucking battle. We got the debates. Oh, but this is the DNC fucking candidate. This is the Republican candidate, but it's all big fucking play up there, man. What's really going on? Because, for example, the DNC, there's evidence that they conspired and went against Bernie Sanders, for example.
Oh, sure.
Right? So
which time?
I think multiple times, exactly, right?
Because I was going to say, I think he had a better chance than Hillary.
Exactly.
And then, they did that with Biden, and they pushed Biden, and anyone with a brain that watched anything that Biden was saying, he couldn't form his own thoughts, and he couldn't say his own things, but then he would look into the TV screen and read like a teleprompter thing, like, you need to go out and vote. We need to change. And it was like the politically rehearsed sort of speaking. He did really well, but any free thought he had was all over the place. And then you see any interview of his time in presidency now, and you're just like, how did he get 81 million votes? And I think Bernie may have won Yeah.
So basically, it doesn't matter what in that scenario. And I'm not trying to just pick on the left because the right does it too. They all fucking do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's them against us type of shit.
Yeah.
It really is the political class.
Yep.
But in that example, so no matter what the majority of the citizens wanted or might have wanted, we didn't get a fair shake of what was really going on with this whole situation here.
Yeah.
The whole process was rigged.
Mm-hmm.
For this person only,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just all a feel-good measure for everybody else. So
Yep.
it's like, what fucking game are we playing here?
It's a big party and none of us are invited.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And that's what fucking sucks. And then those motherfuckers are now pitting everybody else against each other
Sure.
for their team. It's like,
Yeah.
no, we're on your team. You're on our team. Fuck those
No,
guys.
no.
It's like, no. It's like, you see those fucking assholes over here? Like,
Yeah,
they think
just
we're
look at
they think we're all
look
having.
at Nancy's portfolio. That's all that needs to be said.
Man,
Fuck, dude.
yeah, it really.
Look at her portfolio, then look at her city.
Dude, it's not blue and red or left or right. It's those motherfuckers versus the rest of the citizens of the United States.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy. No term limits. Those guys are crazy rich.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. They influence industry and market.
Yep, that's true. Yeah.
And then they get to trade. How is that not inside trading? Help me understand. Help me
I'm
understand.
with you there.
Dude, do you watch TV much?
No.
No.
No, I actually don't even own a TV in my apartment. I would stream Netflix.
Gangster, you're like a motherfucking.
I would stream
Monk.
Netflix on my computer, but that's, I have streaming services like HBO, Netflix, but that's.
You are a fucking
that's it.
savage, dude.
But yeah, well, it comes at its downside. Like
No
I don't
distractions
have to
for
pay
you.
for cable, but I tried to watch the football games yesterday and I couldn't.
Yeah,
and
we just need
and
some
I was
rabbit
like,
ears
dude,
for
they were
those.
great games, and I was like, oh snap! So then I just watched the highlights afterwards
Yeah.
on YouTube. But so it has its downfall. But
Pluses and minuses, there are no TVs in bedrooms in my house. Like I don't allow TVs. in
That's
bed.
good.
Like it fucks
Yep.
up sleep.
no, absolutely, yeah, the REM cycle and the blue light beforehand.
I do not. I
Do
take
you
my.
read before bed?
I don't really read before
Okay.
bed.
Yeah.
For me, I usually read in the morning.
Yep.
My brain, the way my brain works, it doesn't benefit me. It would kind of help maybe shut some things down. I do limit screen time before bed.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do too.
But I
Yeah.
don't read before bed.
I used to try reading before bed as a way to limit screen time because you can't be doing both.
I fall
but then,
asleep.
Yeah.
And it's not.
But
it doesn't-
now I read. I wake up, I read, and then I work out. And
Yeah,
that's-
yeah,
That's my routine.
my brain works better in the
Yep.
morning. So yeah, I don't read before bed. But yeah, no fucking electronics in the rooms.
Yeah,
I don't.
that's smart. I don't want that.
Yeah, blackout curtains, temperature, like all that. Like I don't fuck around.
Oh,
when it comes to
temperature. You
sleep.
keep it colder.
I usually set the thermostat to 67 at night.
All right.
So
Cool.
it's decent. And my room is in the basement, so it gets pretty cold down there.
Yeah.
Like it's finished, but it's still, just year round. It's just cooler in the basement.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really serious about that shit. What was my point for that? We were talking about. Fuck Ryan.
Shoot. No, I can't remember. We were going down.
No.
Reading, no TVs. If I own a TV.
Blue. I know. Oh, I know what it was. But yeah, so I don't. I try not to watch a ton of TV. Those football. Side note: those football games last night. I'm not really. I don't watch sports. I don't watch football.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason
I don't watch football either, except for
all.
playoffs. Like if it's a good game, and yeah,
Those games
but
last night,
apparently, yeah.
Yeah, so
last
Deja,
second
my
stuff.
fiance,
Mhm.
loves football. She does fantasy. She does
Oh,
all
wow.
that. Yeah, she's really
Nice.
into it. So we had to watch them last night.
Uh-huh.
Dude, she gets
Great games.
she gets anxious when it's a tight game like
Yeah.
they were yesterday.
Yeah.
She wanted to fucking turn it. And there's been times that I let her do that, and we missed amazing fucking games. I'm like, Deja, we can't fucking do this. So last night I didn't let her turn it, and she was glad that we didn't
Yeah.
because like her family, she's a Green Bay fan.
Oh, okay.
She's a little bummed out they
yeah.
lost, but next to them is Kansas City. Her whole family's Kansas City fans.
nice.
So she was
Well, they're still alive.
she was super stoked that they won. But those were intense games last night. Those
Yeah.
were crazy. Some of the best football I've ever seen.
Yeah.
For real, it was crazy. So those were crazy, but we don't have cable either. So my point is, we just got rabbit ears
Okay.
for like the antennas.
Yeah.
Those work great, but we pretty much just do streaming services
Yep.
here and there.
I feel like that's what most people do now. Like the only people I think of that sit down and would like watch the evening news and stuff are my parents' generation.
Yeah.
And older and
Yeah.
stuff. And now it's like we're all just streaming stuff and that's it.
So do you have any streaming services?
I don't personally
You
own
don't
them,
really-
but I have
so you don't
access
really-
to
yeah, so you don't really watch any of
Netflix,
those.
Netflix, HBO.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
There's a show that we're watching. It's called Billions. It's on Showtime.
No, what's that about?
It's about this billionaire. He owns a trading company, a capital firm,
Uh-huh.
and he's just trading billions of dollars in stocks and shit like that. It's pretty interesting. One of the things I like about it is based off my own personal experiences with just like successful people and what I kind of see when you watch some of these successful people, you see some of the traits of those, like they put those traits in the characters in the show. So that really fascinates me because there are aspects, obviously it's a fucking show, but there seems to be aspects that they put in there that seem very relevant to like what a successful person would do.
Yeah.
So that always kind of draws me in. It's just kind of like a fascinating show, but you don't watch it, so it doesn't fucking matter, Ryan. It's
Sorry.
like, you don't waste your life watching TV. You shouldn't. That's okay.
No, I tend to have like the 22-minute episode comedy shows like Friends or The Office or Parks and Rec, just like running in the background when I cook. That's like the extent of my watching TV.
Dude, it'll fucking
Where it's like stuff
steal your life.
I've known before, so I like could hear it and visualize it if I'm not directly looking at it.
Yeah.
It's just in the background. It's white noise. Yeah.
We veg out kind of in the evening. We'll watch some of that, and but other than that, I try not to waste a whole lot of time because it'll just suck your fucking. There's only now that I'm so heavy on the podcast and like my company Imposed Will and just doing all this shit. Time is finite.
Yeah.
I don't have time to fucking waste, dude. Like I'm even on social media a lot less. Like I get there and I post, but it doesn't really serve my day, so I don't really have a lot of time to be on there.
Let me see. Have you read Atomic Habits by James Clear?
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's a great book.
Yeah, it's a real popular one, I've noticed.
But one of the things that he said about like adopting a habit or changing a habit was to make it easy. Like easily accessible. Like if you want to work out in the morning, you lay out your stuff beforehand. So when you wake up, you just put it on and go and stuff. And the reverse of that is to make it difficult. And so like social media, like I, on my phone, put it in a group and put it outside of the home screen and like don't have notifications on it. So I don't like constantly get ringed and then see it on the wallpaper when my screen is locked and stuff. And so it's like I try to put social media in the background.
Right.
And then, knowing that undoubtedly, like, I'm going to go check it, like, we're going to be on it. Like you said, it's just part of our nature now. But I try to limit all of that instant reaction kind of stuff. Because otherwise you find, like, you're just being habitual and reacting and it takes up too much time.
Yeah. You got to set yourself up for success, for sure.
Absolutely.
Whether it's, like, removing the temptation or just blocking yourself from getting to it or whatnot. Yeah. It's a good thing to do, dude.
Tell me more about Imposed Will.
Oh, dude, it's my company. It's going to be fucking so big. The plan is, man, I'm just such a firm believer that, and I'm just, the mind, everything starts with the mind. And I really believe that it doesn't matter whether you're pursuing like a musical career or you're just trying to improve your health or you're trying to build a business. It doesn't like you want to be a better grandparent. Whatever it is, it all starts with our mind. I mean, you have to have healthy habits. Like, you have to take care of your body and your mind. But whatever we set our mind to, whatever life that we want to build, we all have the capability to do it. And that's why I say like, we can all impose our will. Like truly, like where there is a will, there really is a way. Like it all starts with making a decision. You can say, I will, you fill in the fucking blank and you can do the rest. I truly believe that. Yeah. So I'm just all about just fostering and building a community of just like-minded people who just want the best out of their life and just want to kick ass and impose their will.
That's awesome.
And that's just what I'm working towards. So apparel is the fuel right now to help, further the mission and grow it. But man, I just want to just build such a huge community of just people all over the world. I truly believe this can be a $1 billion brand. And I truly believe that we can help a lot of people and do a lot of cool shit along the way.
That's great.
So that's what I'm working to do, man. Between that and the podcast,
keeps you busy.
It's just where I'm just focused, dude.
Yeah.
So that's just head down, just trying to build this community and just make this thing grow, bro.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with it, man. So it all starts with the mind, dude.
Yes. No, right? I absolutely believe. Yeah, your mindset is everything.
Yeah, dude. There's that mind-body connection. That's why you gotta take care of your body and take care of your mind. The things you put in your mind, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, dude, it's been an hour and a half.
Are you serious?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, that's great.
Time's been flying by. So let's wrap this up. Is there anything you wanted to direct the people to, tell them about before I let you go?
No, we're good.
Dude, thank you so much for doing
Thank
this.
you. This was very random that, hey, you want to be on the podcast? I'm like, sure.
Dude, I'm just trying to connect with awesome people. You are a super interesting person. Don't sell yourself short.
Thanks.
Ryan, thank you again, my man.
Thank you, dude.
All right, everybody. Bye.